Hey, what's going on YouTube? Warstorm here with another discussion today. Today I'm going to be talking about cards that are currently at 3 or higher and that might eventually be hit on the upcoming ban list. Also, later this week I plan to do a little video talking about cards I think that can come up off the ban list from their current position. Anyway, we're going to get to the main topic, which obviously Worlds was a few weeks ago, so now we've kind of had a little bit of time to digest the fact that Satellar Knight's top. Obviously, with the Worlds ban list, Satellar Knights had next to nil hits outside of Rhoda being at 1, and let's be honest, Rhoda is, instead of playing Rhoda, the guy just played 2 Skybridge. Stellar Knights are not hurt very much by Rhoda being at 1 because they have Skybridge, and Skybridge effectively is just as good as that second, third copy of Rhoda, even though some Stellar Knight players already run 2 Skybridge as well as 3 Rhoda, so to start with, I don't think Rhoda is going to get hit for 2 reasons. One, the Worlds, it was at 1 on the Worlds list anyways, and it doesn't hurt Satellar Knights that much to touch Rhoda because it doesn't help them because they can just replace it with Skybridge, and we obviously need to, I'm all for touching cards in an archetype rather than generic search cards such as Rhoda. Everyone always obviously knows I am biased and that I do not want Rhoda hit. Nevertheless, I think Rhoda will stay at 3 for not just that reason, but I think Ignites are also, Konami wants to push more Pendulum archetypes, and Ignites are one of them. So I think, much like with Summoner's Art, and I'll get to that later, I think that both the cards will stay at 3 for the time being. As far as cards in Satellar Knights that'll get hit, one thing I've been saying for a while is I feel like Satellar Knight Trevor is possibly going to get hit to 1. Now, obviously, most Satellar Knight players don't usually go into the second copy very often, but the fact that it's a loopable giant Trunade, I've been saying for a while I feel the card is far too powerful. The fact that it has a giant Trunade, and it has a Mind Crush type ability, plus a graveyard effect that you can use with Alpha. I'm going to get to Alpha in a bit. The Counter Trap. I feel that Trevor is a card that is, obviously a lot of newer deck monsters in Yu-Gi-Oh! Have 3 different effects. It's just that Trevor has 2 of them that are pretty much very similar to banned cards. I mean, its bounce effect is a giant Trunade on steroids, and its discard effect is very similar to a card that's placed in the ban list right now known as Confiscation. It's pretty much the same as these cards, and I think that's kind of a problem when you have a banned card, a card with, even if it's locked into an archetype that Trevor is, I still think that's a problem. The other cards in Satellar Knights I could see getting hit is maybe Altair going to 2 to 1. I don't think Altair is going to go to 1. I think that's not, I don't see Konami like, it's not like last year with Infernities where Infernities just wrecked the competition. Satellar Knights were done the guy who won did it very precisely. And being methodical, that's how he won. So I think we're not going to see the rampant amount of hits on Satellar Knights. Nevertheless, every deck that wins Worlds typically gets hit on the ban list, so we're going to see some form of hit. I think Altair, more than the Neb, is going to might be semi-limited or even limited. We don't know yet. The other card I think in Satellar Knights that might get hit is Satellanova Alpha, their counter trap. The reason I say this is because I feel like when I first read Satellar Knights, I realized that's probably their best card. The fact that you can negate a card and draw one. On top of that, you can also tribute off the XYZs and have them activate in the graveyard. And that is incredibly powerful. The fact that you can negate something, still resolve Trevor's effect, and then on top of that, get a Satellar Knight monster special summon is pretty dang powerful. And on top of that, you've essentially got +2 off of a negation, which is almost too powerful for my taste. I feel that Alpha could be semi-limited or even limited. Again, like my personal, what I would do with Satellar Knights is I would hit Trevor to 1, Altair to 2, Alpha to 2, and I think we'd be peachy. Now we're going to talk about Cleaves for a bit. I think Cleaves are honestly fine the way they are. They did get hit pretty severely on the April 2015 ban list. I think even with the Towers Turbo deck running amok, I think honestly the deck is not as much of a problem as it was with only 1 Sacrifice, 1 Scout, and 1 of each of their main floodgates. However, it wouldn't shock me if, I don't think, like I said previously, I don't think we'll see Summoner's Art hit. We might, and to be honest, anything outside of Scout maybe going to 1, I don't see that happening. Honestly, I think Cleaves are going to be left alone because they were already hit pretty substantially on the ban list back in April. Now to the other meta decks, Burning Abyss obviously are riding high after they topped at our nationals here in America. I think Burning Abyss are one of those decks, much like Invernities, that the deck is just not going to die until the ban list intervenes. And I think, as far as what I see hitting hit with Burning Abyss, the first, obviously, is the heart and soul of the deck, Dante. I don't see Dante getting hit to 1, because that's way too much. I see Dante maybe getting semi-limited, because Konami doesn't want... this will obviously be... Banlist will happen after the Megatins, probably in late September. I don't see Dante getting any hit any lower than semi-limited. It'll probably be to some of the original Malebranches, maybe Graf going to 1, Sir going to 1, a combination of maybe one of them going to 1, the other going to 2. I see that happening more than likely. Maybe we could also see Fire Lake get hit down to 1 as well, because Fire Lake happens to be their power card. And I do realize most Burning Abyss players don't run more than 1, maybe 2 copies. Nevertheless, Fire Lake, a card as powerful as Fire Lake that blows up 3 cards that you don't really neck from, is pretty powerful. And I could see that possibly getting hit as well. Now we're talking a little bit about Necros. Now I've said this in the past, I do not want Manju and Senju touched, because a lot of non-Necros ritual decks have already suffered from the hit from Preparation of Rites. Like Heralds are almost unplayable with only 1 copy of Preparation of Rites, and on top of that, they lost Laval Chain as well as Necros did. I do think that Necros maybe get hit more, even though they did already hit Shreed and Chain. I could see possibly Unicorn going to 1, maybe, but outside of that, I really don't see Necros getting a ton of hits. Honestly, I think the deck is a lot more manageable. I could see Unicorn maybe going to 1, but outside of that, I don't see Necros getting a ton more hits. And knowing Konami, they probably might hit Manju and Senju, and even though most of us don't want to see that happen, but nevertheless, it might happen. Even though, I will say about Manju and Senju's, in the OCG, they did hit both of them to 1, and Necros were still very functional. So, at most, I think, I don't want to see Manju hit, but Manju might be semi-limited, like it is in the OCG. At most, and that might be it. As far as, last thing I'm going to talk a little bit about is Shaddolls. Now, Shaddolls have been one of those decks that kind of, where obviously hit the ground running until this Alliance launch. They kind of fell out of favor as time goes on. They've kind of gone up and down, up and down. Obviously, they topped over in Europe's Nationals. And, however, the guy had a lot of luck during that tournament. Now, luck, cheating, you make up that decision for yourself. But he just happened to draw the outs to every single Necros matchup he ran into. He got incredibly lucky. Now, as far as what might be hit in Shaddolls, the 2 obvious cards, to me at least, are probably El Shaddol Fusion maybe going to semi-limited or even down to 1. I don't really see Shaddolls getting a ton of hits, but maybe a few. Construct probably being semi-limited or maybe even going to 1. But again, I feel Shaddolls are kind of like a lot. Their playstyle is not only similar to Mermails, I see them a lot like Mermails in that as time goes on and we get more Pendulum decks, the deck is going to not be as good as it was and has been. I still think, obviously, Construct's an amazing monster, and Winda is incredibly good monster at slowing your opponent down, and Jekanaga is obviously a great monster. However, I don't know if I see Shaddolls really doing a whole lot else from here on out, simply because the game is just, as more Pendulum decks come out, especially with Magispectors, Shaddolls are going to have more problems as more of these Pendulum decks come out, because they don't go into their extra deck as much as these other decks. Now, obviously, if they're special summoning a Pendulum monster, it still counts, but I think Shaddolls, outside of maybe Construct or El Shaddol Fusion getting hit, I don't see the deck getting a ton of hits in the ban list. But nevertheless, it probably will be hit because it's one of those things where it's been out for a year, it's been good for a year. Konami probably wants to get them out of the way of some of their upcoming products. So anyway, guys, I'd like to thank you for watching this video today. I really appreciate it when people watch my videos. Tune in on Tuesday, Thursdays, and Fridays for more Yu-Gi-Oh! Content. And if you like what you saw from this video, please subscribe. It's Orstorm signing out.